everyone. Welcome to the Glow Podcast. I am Taylor, your host, and today I have a very exciting guest. I have Kylen from Defender Shield, and I'm super excited to talk with her. But before we do that, if you are new here, we are Tailored Marketing. We partner with organizations in health, wellness, and longevity space to fuel growth through strategic marketing and sales strategies. So if you are interested, drop a comment below. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm really excited to talk to you a little bit more. If you would, I would love if you would just go ahead and give a little bit of an introduction so the listeners know who you are.
Yeah, thank you, Taylor, so much for inviting me on your podcast. I'm excited to talk about the business. And my name is Kylen Ribeiro. I have been the CEO of Defender Shield for the past few years, but I've been with the company since it's close to its beginning days, and I helped grow and get where we are today. My personal journey was I started out as an athlete. I was a swimmer my whole life, and I became a Division I collegiate swimmer, and I was lucky enough to get a scholarship. And from there, I got really interested in yoga. So after my swimming career was done, I began practicing yoga, and I decided to get my yoga teacher training certification for no other reason than to just learn more about yoga. I'd never actually planned on being a teacher or really going into that because I actually was in business, and I was an executive in an international grocery retailer. But it was a good balance to learn about yoga and the spiritual principles and all of that. And
Cool.
So in that program, I met one of the co-founders of Defender Shield. His name was Ryan DeBon, and him and his dad, Daniel DeBon, had very recently, by that time, it was probably 10 years ago, founded this company, and they were just working together on building this brand. And I learned about the products and about EMF radiation. What Defender Shield does is we have products that protect your body from the direct body contact from all of our mobile devices, cell phones, laptops, tablets, Wi-Fi, and 5G, and all of these things in our environments that are surrounding us nowadays.
Yeah.
So I first learned about EMF radiation, electromagnetic field radiation, from Ryan, and learned about Defender Shield. A couple years later, they had an opportunity, and I joined, and I've been here ever since. And I am very passionate about spreading awareness and educating the general public and anyone who's interested in how to live a healthier digital lifestyle, including parents with young kids. I think it's extremely important that we teach the younger generation, who is the first generation to literally be born into the world with cell phones, the iPhone, all of these technologies existing around us that never were surrounding us at this level, even 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah. No, it's so interesting too. And yeah, we don't really know, or at least I don't, how all of that stuff affects us on a daily basis and everything. But I'm sure that you all kind of have a better idea. And so you said that you all basically have these different products that kind of block you from the EMF and like the radiation, and like you said. So what type of products do you like actually sell? Like, is it like sunglasses? Because like we've all seen, like the blue light blockers, which obviously I'm sure not the same thing, but so we can understand the actual products a little bit better.
So actually, we do sell blue light blocking glasses as part
Cool.
of our product line. Blue light is actually a form of electromagnetic radiation.
Yeah.
However, our main core products have shielding that we've developed, and we place it into accessories for your device, such as a cell phone case. So I've got my cell phone case here, and we place our proprietary and very high level of shielding material in the front side of the case, so that when you talk on the phone, you can close the case and you know that your brain is not getting that direct contact with the signals coming from the cell phone. So this is the concept that we have in the majority of our products for cell phones, tablets, laptops. We even have clothing, blankets. What I'm using right now, these are our actually best-selling products. They're air tube headphones. So instead of having shielding, obviously there's no shielding in these headphones. There's an air tube. So these right here are speakers. The sound travels up the air tube into my ears, but there's no electronic signals going into the brain with our headphones.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
so
I
we
know
have the products.
that's super super cool, honestly, because I feel like yeah, that it makes sense how you guys are going about doing it, especially with like the headphones and stuff like you were saying. I know like even myself I'm like I wonder what is going on with our headphones cuz you are like you have them on all the time like whether it's AirPods or whatever and stuff. And you do like wonder what it's causing. And so I guess when people are switching from what's like the primary reason people are switching from their current products to yours?
So a lot of our customers, they are just learning about this topic, and their kind of intuition is telling them that maybe there's something. We'll use the AirPods as an example,
Yeah.
since you brought that up. So a lot of people just innately feel like, you know what, this can't be good to have
Yeah.
these signals going into my brain. And they're right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of scientific studies of negative health effects from EMF radiation. And I'll explain how we know that the Bluetooth signal is connecting to the phone. Bluetooth is a form of EMF radiation. So it's on the spectrum of that. We know that the Bluetooth AirPods connect to your phone, but they also connect to each other. So that signal is going directly through your brain. And because they've only been around such a short amount of time, we don't know the long-term effects of this. But we
Yeah.
do know, we practice the precautionary principle, and we believe that if there could be a potential negative downside health effect, like why would we not try to take measures and protect ourselves?
For sure.
We believe that just like smoking when it first came out, and was socially acceptable for many, many years, science all along knew that it wasn't good for us. But that didn't come out until much, much later when all the health effects were finally catching up with people after 30, 40, 50 years of smoking. So we hope that that's not the case with EMF radiation, but we fear that it is, that it will be. And we just want to let people know there are easy things you can do aside from using our products. Our products are a solution and they help reduce your exposure. And that's what we try to, talk to people and inform them and share the research and share the science. Unfortunately, it still is a controversial topic in the media because,
There's just like you said, there's not necessarily research, but there's also no research saying it's okay
there
either.
is actually a lot of research showing it's
There
not
is.
okay. There are
Okay.
1,000 studies, and most of them are on our website. Like we know that, there are effects. And so me personally, with my own kids, I have 2 kids, I'm gonna teach them about, hey, this is how we use this device. This is what we need to do. We need to keep the Wi-Fi away from us. Like there's literally so many things we can do to just reduce our exposure. So it's not just constantly inundating us all day, every day. It's a very unfortunately controversial in the
Yeah.
marketplace. Many of probably your listeners and people that are in the health and wellness space, those are our customers. That's our customer base,
Yeah.
people who care and want to clean up their environments from, what they eat, what's in their water, to what's surrounding you in your environment. This is all part of like a holistic, healthy lifestyle.
For sure. No, 100%. I completely agree with you. And I guess so you were saying that like there are studies and stuff and everything. I misheard what you said when you were talking about smoking, like that people knew it wasn't good for you
So
at the
science knew.
beginning.
The scientists
Okay.
knew. Things were not
Yeah.
made public for money reasons, just like
Yeah.
now. But if you actually go and look back at what the research back then when smoking just came out was saying, even though it wasn't public knowledge, it showed the health effects of smoking. But we didn't actually see those until after decades of that. So just
Yeah.
because
No,
it's
that totally makes
not
sense.
publicly out there, I think we all know how the media is these days. And just,
Yeah.
we have to look out for our own health and well-being, and no one else is going to do that for you.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Well, and I feel like too, even like with this kind of stuff, like maybe with even just like headphones, like obviously there is incentive for a lot of people for that research to not get out there. You know, like they maybe aren't hiding it, but it's also like not necessarily like publicizing it or educating people on that like laptops or Wi-Fi or bad for you and like this is what it's causing. There's really no incentive necessarily for people to like be educating people on these topics.
There are voices in the science community and the medical community that do speak on the effects and the studies and whatnot, but it's just like anything that makes our lives easier. You know, people don't want to convenience over health, I think, and
Yeah.
AirPods are that perfect example because I've personally don't have any, but I mean, how convenient it must be to just pop them in your ears and, you know, you're not attached to anything. If you do use them, you know, I would say just try to mitigate, you know, don't have them in your head listening to stuff 24 hours out of the day. Don't sleep with them, you know, maybe just a little bit, maybe just when you're exercising or something. And then the rest of the time, if you're sitting still at a computer, like, do you really need the AirPods? Like, you can just plug something in.
Yeah.
So there's just like ways of, it doesn't have to be all or nothing, you know, just like eating healthy, like you try to eat healthy, you know, X percentage of the time. And then you don't have to be perfect for 100% of the time to be better.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think that it's just like about making the little changes. And what are like besides the AirPods example, that's what like you said is a perfect example, but what are like some other little changes that people could implement to just lessen their exposure a little bit, even if that does include with buying products from Defender Shield or, you know, whatever else. But what are some kind of changes people could implement?
Yeah, so there's a few principles that we talk about a lot, and one of those is time. So time, the amount of time you're spending on your devices. By reducing that, you're reducing your exposure. Distance. By increasing the distance your device is away from your body, exponentially decreases your exposure. It is much different if you have your phone on you, on your body, than if it's just an arm length away. That's a great reduction in exposure. So time, distance, and the number of sources around you. So for example, having the number of sources just exacerbates the amount of exposure you have. So when you're in a room with a Wi-Fi router, a laptop, a cell phone, a tablet, a smart TV, a smart refrigerator, I mean, all of those things have their own source of signals, and it just compounds the problem. So try to use wired things when you can. Try to hardwire, even Ethernet. One of my biggest and easiest things that I tell people to do not sleep with your cell phone on or charging beside your bed or under your pillow. You can turn it in airplane mode, and that will turn the signals off. So those are very simple steps. You know, don't have your Wi-Fi router in your bedroom. That's definitely one. Because while we're sleeping, that's 8 full hours that you're going to be exposed to whatever is in your bedroom. So make your bedroom sort of like reduce the sources in your bedroom. And then our products, like they're designed to work with your lifestyle. So most of us are using our phones a lot throughout the day. So having our phone case on, it gives you peace of mind that, okay, if I have to talk on the phone, I can close the front. If I have to put it in my pocket, I can put that side towards my body. So the shielding is between my device and my body. Even if you don't have our cases, use your phone on speakerphone, use wired headphones. You know, keep your phone away from your body if you can, if you don't have our products. And then we have, if you work from home and you like to work from the couch, we have a laptop shield for that. So we like to make things that work with your lifestyle and replace things you already have, but that have shielding in it, you know, so you can feel like more of a peace of mind while you're using your technology.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I mean, that's super awesome. And like, even just the advice too, because I've heard people say before, like, don't sleep with your cell phone next to you. And I'm like, but that's so hard because like I use my cell phone for like my alarm clock. And like, do I really want to have to go across the room? But like you just saying that you can put your phone on airplane mode and it like removes the signals from it as well, like that I feel like is so helpful. Even like for me, I'm like, That seems like a simple fix, because like I've never been like, oh yeah, let me like put my cell phone in another room and then I'm gonna have to get up and like turn off the alarm.
Hmm. Yeah, because your alarm is still going to work if it's in airplane mode. Like
Yeah,
you're just turning
exactly.
off the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth, and the cell signal. So it does a lot to help. It does, you can feel like you're not being, radiated while you're sleeping with your phone a foot from your head.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's super cool. And I guess so with Defender Shield too, I know right now you guys have a ton of products. I'm sure you've probably been growing so much since the start and everything. And so what are kind of your goals for the company over the next year or two, and what are y'all really focused on right now?
Well, we're continuing to launch new products that we feel are good additions to our product line. We do have so many products now. We basically have a solution for anyone now, but we try to
Yeah.
be very purposeful about like, okay, we think that, we look at what is selling the best and then we try to make new colors and new sizes and, lean into what is selling the best and what people are asking for. Continuing to be involved in education, doing podcasts, partnering with influential people on social media, medical professionals, people that can, promote and discuss this potential health issue, at
Yeah.
a high level or a level specific to their specialty. So we're very excited about the trajectory of the company and just the industry. More and more people every day are becoming aware of this, and it's driving people to us. We've been here, we have the education on our website, and we've been doing this for 14 years. So
Wow.
we created this
Ahead of the
industry.
curve.
Yeah, like we were here long before anyone, knew that this was not, it was very under discussed, back then.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of competitors that have come along in different technologies that they have.
Yeah.
So we get questions all the time about EMF stickers and EMF harmonizers and all of these sorts of other types of technologies. And while we don't really debunk what they're doing, or we don't completely understand how it works, how it claims to completely eliminate all the signals, because from our understanding of engineering and physics, the only way to completely shield that type of signal is with a physical barrier, which is embedded
Yeah.
into all of our products. It makes sense. We have third-party military lab testing done on our shielding that shows the range of frequencies and how it performs at each frequency and each.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, here's the lab test and then that's what's in the products. It's very easy concept. It's a physical, you can see it. If you ripped open your products, if it was a Defender Shield product, you would see the shielding inside. So
Yeah.
all we do is stand behind what we do and stay true to what we know to work. Just hope that the people that want to have the best quality and the best shielding, I mean, we work constantly to improve our shielding effectiveness because the G, 6G, all these things are having higher and higher frequency ranges. And nobody on the market is able to block 5G except for us. So
Yeah.
we're constantly innovating and working to get the shielding better and better and better. And that's our commitment to, like, that's how we stay who we are in the marketplace and, continue to be the leaders.
Yeah, no, that's super awesome. And I think you're 100% correct too with saying that, like, 14 years ago when y'all first started, people probably weren't as aware that this was an issue because it was kind of still a little new. But now I think that people are becoming much more educated consumers. And I think there's been a shift where a lot of people are taking ownership for like the things that they're buying and like how protecting their health and wellness. Like if they're eating like a Big Mac or like I'm just giving like an example, like it's like they know that that's not good for them at this point,
Mm-hmm.
or like if you're sleeping with your phone on right next to you, that that's probably not good for you, and like these certain things. And I think people are now a lot more willing to take ownership for those things, because with the amount of access to information that we have, there's not as much of an excuse anymore.
And I think that over time, unfortunately, it's been realized by the general public that the government and these agencies like don't have our best interests like in our health at the forefront of their goals. So I think that's been proven. And so I think that kind of opened people's eyes and minds up to like, well, wait a minute, just because they're allowing something to happen, you know, Europe, for example, the standards in food and what they're allowed to put into their food are much stricter than they are here. And the same goes for wireless technologies and signals. It's like a free-for-all here. You know, people can put 5G towers wherever they want. Over there, it's a lot more regulated. And so if you just look to other parts of the world, that this stuff it's common knowledge, you know, and where here it's like, you know, we become distracted. We are distracted by other things instead of like, hey, what's going to be best for our health? You know, that's why as Americans, we really have to take it into our own hands and decide for ourselves, is this good for me or is this not? Not what's allowed to be out there for me to buy and consume, but what is actually good for me and not good for me.
Yeah, no, and I think that COVID, like even kind of around like the COVID times and stuff, that opened up a lot of that, of people being like, okay, I got to take some accountability and ownership for my health, because if I'm not going to do it, I don't know if no one else is going to, like, I don't know. It's like almost like we expected something from other people that were like in higher positions.
100%.
During that time, it's like, okay, wait, why am I relying on these other people? Like, I should be relying on myself for my health and my wellness.
Yeah, it was a very like scary time, obviously, for all of us, but also I think it was a big turning point for people where I think as a general population, like most people blindly followed what was being told, what was being mandated. And then now years later, we're looking back and going, wait a minute, like that wasn't even right. Like, why did we, you know, why was this said? There's just a lot of more scrutiny. And I think that's a perfect example of just like, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not, you know, I'm not a medical expert, but it let people realize that maybe you should do your own kind of research and just deciding what you're going to put into your body or not. Even, you know, on a daily basis, like I mentioned, food, like allowed to have so many more chemicals and preservatives in our food than other countries are. And why is that? You know, just ask yourself that question. It's not a hard answer to come to. And I think that applies to a lot of different industries, including, you know, what we're talking about today.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think it is important for people to really do their own due diligence and their own research and not just look at what is allowed, but what is actually good for me. Just doing your own research as well. Well, tell everyone, what is the best way to find you online? What is the best way to find Defender Shield? And I will also put all the links in the show notes as well.
Great. Yeah, we have our website, defendershield.com. We are also on Amazon, so you can buy anywhere that's convenient for you. We've got our Instagram and Facebook, just Defender Shield. We're on LinkedIn, TikTok, you know, all the places. So just Defender Shield. And, you know, we have a great customer service team. So any questions or concerns about products or, you know, just the topic in general, we have so many resources on our website. We have 2 books. We have Radiation Nation, that was written by Dan and Ryan, it's a very easy to understand guide to EMF radiation. And then we have a children's book that I co-authored with my CEO, Michelle Zofria. And it's cute story for parents to read with their children, because as a mom, I felt like I wanted an easy way for my kids to understand the concept. And it's something hard for kids to understand because they can't see it. But of course, aside from just the radiation with kids, like the content that's being consumed, like there are so many other things to think about, social media and all that stuff. So it kind of just gives parents a good way to talk about why why should they take a break from their tablet? You know, why should we do
Yeah.
other things than just sit and stare at screens all day?
For sure. No, that totally makes sense. That's super cool. That's awesome. That's such a fun way too to like show your kids. I like, okay, let me read you the story kind of. And
Yeah,
then you
it's
can
like,
share it with everyone else.
it's like I always tell you to get off your tablet, but here's a book, like here, let's read this book, and like I didn't make this up. And people and
Yeah.
may not have the right words to use, or like the, you know, what is the problem with it, but this kind of helps just, yeah, lay it out there in a very fun little story.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so, so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. Like I said, I will put everything in the show notes.
Thank you so much, Taylor. Great talking to you.